Because most of us don't want to think about it, human trafficking is happening in our state. This morning, we're hearing about a way to learn more about the issue and spot the signs. There's a summit put on by the Junior League of Birmingham, and this morning, Meredith Hutchison from the Junior League and Jan Bell, the director of the Child Trafficking Solutions Project, join us with those details. Ladies, thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us on, Catherine.
Certainly. And Jan, I'd love to hear from you. How big of a problem is human trafficking, is child trafficking in central Alabama?
Oh, it's a major problem.
Really?
And I think many people feel that they've seen the movie Taken, and so they feel like it's being snatched up and put in a van and taken, but it's literally online predators are having access to our children all in every home. There's vulnerabilities, and it's happening everywhere, and parents really need to become educated on how accessible their children are to these predators who are eager to exploit them.
And it's something, again, yeah, we have this idea of it, that this is somewhere else. This is happening to some other, somebody who goes on a trip or something like that, but
Exactly.
not when your child is putting on a headset to play video games.
Exactly, exactly. If a child has access to the internet, then predators have access to them.
You mentioned educating parents, and I would love to know, how do we do that? How do we spot the signs? What are some things to look out for?
Well, particularly have conversations with your children. That's very important. And have them often. And you cannot start too early. But parents can really, there are things they can do related to what age they have. Their children have a full access to an iPhone versus their other options when you're younger that can have some limited function. They can turn their Wi-Fi off at 9 because the kids may be going in their bedrooms. And if their Wi-Fi is turned off, then they're limiting access to predators having access to them. And then just speaking about all the different ways that they can be grooming them, but they're not who they think they are. And because of social media, so much of friending someone, you actually don't really know who they are. And they're disguising themselves perhaps as a peer and maybe beginning to send inappropriate photos, but they think it's a friend. And then it turns out it's an adult, maybe in another state, and then suddenly they're threatening them to then expose that to all their classmates, to their parents. And then they get in really big trouble really fast.
Certainly. So many things to be on the lookout for
Yes.
in this age of technology,
Yes.
especially as parents or grandparents. Meredith, these are some great tips that Jan has told us. We're going to learn even more at this summit.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have a summit in Montgomery tomorrow, but also on Saturday, the Junior League of Birmingham is hosting an event that is open to the community, and registration is free. We will have Cricket and Bree Vigor, she's a Alabama girl who was she was exploited when she was in 6th grade. She was targeted by an online predator. So she and her mom are going to come and speak to girls ages 10 and up and just tell them about the realities and the danger of being cautious with social media.
Yeah.
And somebody who's lived that experience.
Exactly.
And we can learn from her experience, certainly, about what happened there. So that's happening on Saturday.
That's happening on Saturday at 4 p.m. at the Junior League of Birmingham building. Like I said, registration is free, but we will have like tea and some hors d'oeuvres, and it'll be a really good open conversation. People will be able to ask questions and have access to more resources where they can continue learning and educating themselves and their peers. Because it really is, I know we touched on Taken, but trafficking, it is the second largest criminal in business, and it is a business in the world. It's fastest growing, and it's second only to drugs. And every year in the United States, annually, hundreds of thousands of children and women are taken every year in our country. And that's something that we want to raise awareness about.
And before we go, I'd love to shout out as well, on February 15th, you have a Lunch and Learn event where people can learn more about what is happening, spot the signs, certainly hear from speakers, have a panel discussion. And Janie mentioned, the first step in all of this is educating
Absolutely.
yourself.
Absolutely.
And this is an opportunity to do so.
It's much better to prevent it than to deal with the aftermath,
Certainly.
particularly with our children. So
We appreciate your time, ladies. We have that information on the screen about the summit coming up on the 15th. And of course, we encourage you to find out more about this and connect with the Junior League if this is something that you are passionate about.